Hey, welcome back. So we've figured out how to build a Fourier series, right? We can take an infinite pile of sines and cosines and stitch them together to make a function. But, that leaves a huge question just hanging in the air.
I mean, when you add up all those an infinite number of waves, where does the series actually land? What number does it settle on? Especially when the original function has breaks or jumps in it. That's the puzzle we're going to solve today. And the answer? Well, it's really elegant, but also a little bit strange.
So yeah, we're talking about the end game here. After you've added up literally an infinite number of terms, what's the final value? Now, for most of a function, the answer is actually pretty simple, but it's those breaks, those points of discontinuity, that's where the real magic happens.
Think about it. Anywhere your original function is just moving along nice and smooth, the Fourier series is going to converge right to that value. No surprises there, it just equals the function. But what happens at a spot where the function suddenly jumps? From one value straight to another. The series has to pick just one value to land on, so which one does it choose? Okay, so lucky for us, we don't have to guess. There is a very clear rule for this. It's all laid out in something called the Dirichlet convergence theorem. And this thing gives us a precise answer for every single point, whether it's a smooth ride or a dramatic jump. So here it is, the heart of the matter. The theorem basically says that as long as your function is made up of a bunch of continuous pieces, no crazy infinite wiggles, then its Fourier series will always converge to the average of the limits from the left and the right. The key thing here is that it looks at what's happening just before a point and just after it to make its decision. And this is where it gets really cool, when you break it down. On the left, at a continuous point, the limit from the left and the limit from the right are, well, they're the same thing. They're just the function's value, f of x. So the average is, you guessed it, just f of x. Easy. But on the right, at a jump, this is where the series does something amazing. It literally splits the difference. It converges to the exact midpoint of that jump. It doesn't pick the top value, it doesn't pick the bottom, it lands perfectly in the middle. So the series lands on the midpoint of the jump. Case closed, right? We're done? Well, not exactly. As we get closer and closer to these jumps, something really peculiar happens. It's a little quirk that has fascinated mathematicians for over 100 years.
Yeah, it turns out the Fourier series doesn't just smoothly approach that midpoint value, it actually overshoots it. It's like a visual glitch in the matrix of the math. It gets a little too excited as it approaches the cliff and jumps a bit too high before settling down.
And we're not talking about some tiny, negligible error here. The series consistently overshoots the jump by about 9% of the total height of that jump. It's this surprisingly specific and, honestly, kind of stubborn number.
This right here really captures the weirdness of what we call the Gibbs phenomenon. As you keep adding more and more terms to your series, trying to get a better and better approximation, that 9% overshoot, it doesn't go away. It never gets smaller. It just gets squeezed into a narrower and narrower spike right next to the jump. So the overshoot's height never shrinks. It just gets thinner and thinner forever. It's a permanent feature of the convergence.
All right, theory is great, but let's make this totally concrete. We're going to apply these rules to a couple of classic examples just to see exactly how this works in the wild.
Okay, first up, let's take a nice smooth function, f of x equals x squared, on the interval from negative pi to pi. At any point inside that interval, let's say at x equals 1, the series converges right to the function's value, so 1 squared, which is just 1. Now, what about the endpoints? Well, since the function's value at negative pi and positive pi are the same, they're both pi squared. The series lands right on that value. See? No drama here.
Now for the really interesting case, a function with a big jump. Let's imagine a function that's -1 for all the negative numbers and then jumps up to +1 for all the positive numbers. There's a clear, unmistakable jump right at the origin, at x equals 0. So what does the Fourier series do? We just follow the rule. The limit as you come in from the left is -1. The limit from the right is +1. What's the average of -1 and +1? It's 0. And that is exactly where the Fourier series converges. It splits the difference perfectly. So, let's just wrap this all up. Here are the 3 key things to remember. If the function is continuous at a point, the series converges right to the function's value, f of x. If there's a jump, the series converges to the average of that jump. And finally, don't forget about that fascinating little glitch, the Gibbs phenomenon. Right near a jump, you can always expect the series to overshoot by about 9%.
So we've answered the what, right? We know the Fourier series converges to the average of the jump. But this kind of leads to an even deeper question, doesn't it?
Why the average? I mean, what is it about this infinite sum of sines and cosines that makes it want to find the perfect midpoint? That's a great thought to chew on as you keep digging into the beautiful world of calculus.